25 years ago, on the Friday of Easter weekend, I was in the Garden of Gethsemane, located on the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem. It may not be the exact spot of Jesus' prayer, but it is near. The olive trees where I stood are nearly 1,600 years old.
Jesus entered the city to a growing population that loved him. He spoke at the temple and confounded the chief priests and their scribes. Through his honest devotion to his Father, his studies, and direct words, Jesus threatened their power and money by calling their actions into question. Notice the people continued to hang on every word that Jesus spoke, and he grew in favor. He was popular with the crowds, leading us to reason that the only time the chief priests and their scribes could have taken Jesus would have been in the darkness of night, so they could hide their actions. Judas was needed to direct them to Jesus due to the crowds of people sleeping on the Mount of Olives. After all, it was Passover. The city grew to 2 to 3 times its size during that holiday. Sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane, I opened and studied the scriptures in their context, as sprawled out in front of me were the ancient visuals from the time of Jesus. Noticing the ancient ruins, I tried to focus on what Jesus may have felt. Perhaps he noticed the smell of the olive trees, the fires, and the animals. He may have heard the noise from the animals in the crowds of Passover, and the temple just across the valley dying down for the evening. Darkness with lights of fire dotting the surrounding area of cooking fires and oil lamps would have been visible, as there were many people crowding the hillside of the Mount of Olives for the night. The taste of dirt mixed with the sweat of Jesus' forehead would have pooled as he prayed so earnestly that the cup be removed from him. After sitting a while in the garden, I walked a short distance through the valley, past the Temple Mount, and through the winding streets to the Holy Sepulchre, also known as the Church of Resurrection, all within eyeshot of where I was initially standing. Inside of the sepulchre are first-century tombs. These tombs are the likely spot of both the crucifixion, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. With Easter crowds pushing all around me, I still found the ability to settle myself and think on those things the Lord went through on those final days and hours. The following Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, I walked from my home in Jerusalem, not a far distance away, past the Holy Sepulchre, through the Garden of Gethsemane, and up to the top of the Mount of Olives. The climb up the mount took me no more than 30 minutes. There, I looked toward the unpopulated Judean hills and realized that Jesus could have done the same. You see, the hills are a hiding place. It is where David hid. Jesus could have left. He had that option. Instead, he stayed and prayed in the garden. He did not walk those short minutes up the Mount of Olives and escape into the desert. It dawned on me the significance of the act of Jesus' sacrifice and devotion to God and to the people loved by God. With his human will and the spirit of the Holy One in him, he chose not to run and hide. I wonder if he glanced that direction during his prayer, if he thought, just a few minutes and I would escape from what is coming to me. Instead, he stayed. What a significant moment.
On Easter morning, standing on the Mount of Olives, I considered not only God's sacrifice, but also the enormous human choice that existed in the framework of those hours. I could tell you of the beautiful sunrise I saw, the cloudless blue sky, the feeling of thankfulness knowing that death had been conquered. However, what stood out more than anything at that moment was the ultimate physical turning away from the escape within the grasp of Jesus, and the physical movement of will towards the hope brought to all of us through his death and resurrection.